to my twisted world where heroes will collide. Villains are the only evil, there are no fucking sides. Every match will test their stats, every loss and win are weighed. Any chance they thought they had could all end up in vain on Combo Breaker.
Gruesome murder! I know, what a fun way to start off an episode. But honestly, today's combatants are only known for killing people and monsters in the most horrific way possible. From disemboweling to decapitation. They'll rip and tear you to shreds. And yeah, I don't really have anything else for this intro because their only connection is horrific violence. Although I guess you could also make the connection with the idea of their hidden gems on their systems, but that's kind of stupid. Without further ado, allow me to introduce today's combatants. Jack Cayman, the star player of Deathwatch from Mad World. And Rick Taylor, the mask-wearing psycho slaughter machine from Splatterhouse. So I just played Mad World, a lost forgotten gem on the Wii, and oh my god, is it fucking awesome! It's ultra-violent, over the top, and it's amazing. Essentially, our main character, Jack, no, not the samurai, completely different Jack, but Jack's on a mission. But to complete this mission, he needs to compete in games called Deathwatch, where essentially you have to kill people in horrific fashions to climb through the ranks until you can win the whole game. Well, here's the thing though, to get more points to rise through these ranks, you need to kill people in the most ultra-violent way possible, like an ultra-violent version of pinball in an arcade. Anyway, a great example of this is if you were to just cut a guy in half, not worth that many points. If you were to impale him with a street sign, shove him in a flame barrel, pick up the flaming barrel, and throw him in front of a moving train so he explodes into a bloody mist, that's worth a lot more points. But yeah, it's an amazing game, and I'm really sad to see it be a one-off game, especially since the whole thing is really done, the humor's amazing, and I'm rambling about the game, and I should probably get right into what Jack's actually capable of and what he's packing. Now, before I get into all that though, I do need to mention Jack does also appear in a game called Anarchy Reigns. However, this is clearly not the same Jack from Mad World, as there's a bunch of differences, like it's no longer in black and white, he has hair, he looks different altogether, and he's in the same game as Bayonetta, so I can't imagine it's canon, let alone the same version of Jack that we know and love. Alright, that's enough rambling about how fucking great this game is. Let's talk about what Jack is packing in that badass arsenal of his. His first and most important weapon is this metal arm he has. He can use it to bash in heads and just punch people really far away. But more importantly, he has a fucking chainsaw blade embedded in it that he can extend out like a Wolverine claw. This allows him to easily cut through opponents, and it's like a badass combination of the Doomfist Gauntlet and the Lancer from Gears of War. Despite its badassery, it does have a time limit. See, due to gas, he can only have it out and running for so long. However, as long as it's not extended out and used for slaughtering people like animals, it will recharge over time. But he also has a number of weapons he can find out on the battlefield to use in combat. Yeah, he straight up has Master Chief levels of luck when it comes to finding these weapons on the battlefield. These weapons are super dangerous killing machines, like a spiked baseball bat he can use to launch people, a set of twin daggers for ripping and slashing, a spear for impaling, a motorcycle for driving, a golf club for hitting people. These are really fucking weird weapons. He's also got a torch that he can use to breathe fucking fire like a goddamn dragon. What the fuck is this guy? Oh, but don't worry, he has even more murder tools, such as an alien magnet gun he can pick up and launch foes like some sort of super vacuum cleaner. He also has a missile launcher, a katana, and a double-bladed chainsaw the size of him that he can still jump around with and do fucking backflips while swinging. Yeah, that's pretty badass. He's also had a pistol in a cutscene once, but we never see him use it, and he does have Jude the Dude's revolvers that he used to kill Jude the Dude, so it's kinda iffy if he actually has these things. He can be a regular McCree all the time, but he has had them in cutscenes before. Not to mention, Jack will pick up just about anything to kill his foes. He'll pick up barrels, tires, street signs, soda bottles, and more to use to kill. He'll even throw you against walls, electrical panels, spikes, trains, and whatever else to make sure you die in the most horrifically brutal fashion ever. But Jack has more than just killing tools in his arsenal of pain and destruction. He can also take pills to heal himself or eat an onion for a full heal. Wow, I actually can't decide between making a Shrek joke or a drug addiction joke. Anyway, Jack's best tool in his arsenal is extra lives. Yeah, I'm dead fucking serious. Jack has 2 extra lives at the beginning of every level, and he's easily able to get more by picking up red balloons with his face on it to get more lives. Now, these can bring him back from even the most brutal and horrific deaths. And yes, it's actually 100% canon, as the game announcers and commentators actually mention that Jack has been killed when you die, but when you use an extra life, it brings you right back to where you were in the middle of the fight or level. And add on to this, the commentators mention that extra lives show up and that Jack can pick them up. Plus, Jack has fought someone else who could respawn, so it's not that far-fetched that he could also do so. Now, if he's going to win these games with a high score, he's gonna need to be pretty fucking tough. And holy shit is he ridiculous. Like, my god, his feats are so violent and ultra brutal that they make Mortal Kombat look like a PG game in comparison. Starting off with Jack's strength, he's incredibly strong. He's strong enough to bend someone backwards until they break in half. He can twist someone's neck 180 degrees with one quick movement. He can easily crush a human skull, and his chainsaw can cut someone clean in half with one swing. He managed to one-shot a person who could one-shot kill a goon. He can rip a street sign out of the ground and then shove it through a man's skull. He can beat and kill Little Eddie, who's massive. Not to mention, he also cut a train car in half and a semi-truck in half. He can also push back 2 semi-trucks that are trying to crush him, and these were all while they're being thrown at him. He could cut a man's arm off who could launch tornadoes, and he proceeded to punch that guy super high height. He can drop kick someone so hard their upper body explodes to a bloody mess. He killed the sumo Yakuzama who could actually shake the arena with a stomp and jump up into the air and grab helicopters. And he spanked Elise the vampire so hard, she went flying through a higher up floor's window. That's not even the best feats. He's destroyed Arton the huge robot, overpowered Frank the giant Frankenstein monster. He's beaten and killed Black Baron who could come back from several previous deaths, and he could crack the arena floor with a single punch. Not to mention, when fighting the Black Baron, he launched him so far out of the arena, he actually launched in the crowd and exploded. Yeah, that was a shit ton of strength feats, and that was a shortened list. Those were just some of my favorites and his strongest feats. On to speed. He can easily fight several zombies, people, wolves, etc. all at once. Not to mention, he killed a man before a cigarette he threw could hit the ground. Plus, Jack has flipped over, dodged, and slashed bullets in half. He can easily dodge tornadoes, and most impressively, he jumped out of the water before an electrical blast could hit him. The electrical blast was from a lightning bolt produced by Frank. He could also fight a swarm of bats as well as dodge them. He outran a fucking missile. He can dodge missiles. And by far my favorite speed feat is when he threw his motorcycle at his opponent Kojak while he was in the air, which caused a massive explosion. And somehow, despite him being above the explosion in the air, he came out of the explosion riding his motorcycle. He also managed to beat Black Baron, who could move so fast it appeared like he was teleporting. Yeah, he's fucking insane. As for durability, Jack can tank a helicopter exploding on him, as well as tornadoes, missiles, and he can take hits from vampires, ninjas, giant monsters, and robots. Not to mention he can take hits from the Black Baron, who cracked arena floors, and was shown to be somewhat even with Jack, as he could survive several hits in the same death traps that he uses on his opponents. Now, Jack isn't just some mindless killer either. He can actually keep up with ninjas, trained fighters, and he managed to win Death Watch several times. He's an ex-Marine, ex-detective, and ex-Special Ops agent. Not to mention, he was undercover in the Death Watch games, plus he managed to call a couple of people out on their bullshit and figure out the mystery behind the games before it was all over. That being said, he is far from perfect, actually. His chainsaw can't run forever, and his special weapons have limited durability. Plus, he has to find them on the fly. Not to mention, he only has 2 extra lives to start out every fight. Either way, though, Jack isn't Justice's bitch. He won't hesitate to fuck your shit up. Splatter House! What an old game. What about the reboot? Wait, there's a reboot? Fuck! Okay, research finished now. So, yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, Splatter House. What an over-the-top violent game of decapitation, disembowelment, and the best part is you play as Jason Voorhees! No you don't. The guy's name is Rick Taylor. Fuck! Anyway, jokes aside, let's talk about Rick Taylor's powers and arsenal. He has an insane healing factor that allows him to regrow limbs altogether. And he can heal from almost any wound easily, just like Deadpool. Plus, the Mask of Terror actually once said he has a talking vagina. Wait, what the fuck? Who fucked with my script? No one did. They actually said in the game, although it was a joke, he doesn't actually have a talking... Oh, you know what? What the fuck? Anyway, Rick can absorb blood and become stronger like some sort of vampire. This allows him to use his best ability, the Berserker form, where he grows several spikes and claws and becomes even stronger than before. This also allows him to send out spikes in several directions and smash the floor, causing spikes to come out of the ground. Now, while Rick Taylor's bare fists may be lethal weapons on their own, it doesn't stop him from using several weapons to dismantle his foes. Rick has been known to pick up and use shotguns, 2x4s, axes, machetes, and a cleaver, as well as a fucking sword when he wants to go medieval on some bitch-ass demons. He also has a baseball bat, and he'll use just about anything he can find to beat the hell out of his opponents. Now, the best tool in Rick's arsenal is his mask. The Terror Mask gives Rick the power to allow him to scan for monsters, as well as tell him how to kill them. Wait a second, is this a... No, it's not a sequel to The Mask. Okay, I have a one-man show. Who the hell is responding to me? Usually when I make these research jokes, there's just a pause. Oh my god, is this a terror mask reference? Are we seriously stupid in this level? Oh shit, he realized the joke makes no sense. I'm fading out of existence! Wow, that was fucking weird. So, Honda feats, and hot damn is Rick impressive. Rick is incredibly strong. He's able to lift giant monsters who should weigh anywhere from 800 to 1,200 pounds. He can easily rip apart a demon with his bare hands, decapitate a monster with his bare hands, and he managed to break stone. He can kill giant monsters that tower over buildings, and he broke through concrete and destroyed a room full of eyes. That feat is fucking disgusting. Rick is also super quick. He can jump over tall buildings, as well as dodge and blitz several demons. He can throw a knife at 40 miles per hour, and he once caught a meteor that was the size of a building. He's tough enough to survive a meteor that hit him in the shoulder, tearing it clean off. He survived a long-ass fall that lasted a full minute, and he's been stabbed and even skinned fucking alive. Holy shit, that is some Predator-level stuff. When it comes to intelligence, we know he is skilled in combat against demons, but he's slightly mentally unstable, and he has a voice in his head, and they do tend to argue quite a bit. We do know he's still skilled enough to take on hordes of demons on his own. But Rick is not perfect. He does lack strategy, and his battle tactics are questionable, as they mostly consist of punch, 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 and kill, kill, kill. He also needs blood to power him up, and the Terror Mask tends to argue with him quite a bit. But either way, stay the fuck away from Rick when he's on a rampage. Alright, our combatants are set and ready for some gruesome-ass combat. Let's settle this and see who would win in a fight to the death. Jack is wandering through a broken-down city. He pulls out a cigarette and goes to light it, but he's stopped as he hears someone screaming in anger behind him. He turns around to see Rick Taylor standing there as he laughs psychotically. Jack smirks and gets into his battle stance as Rick charges at him head-on at Jack, only to be stopped by a powerful hook from Jack's metal arm. Rick stumbles back slightly before dashing at Jack again and kneeing him in the stomach, and follows up with an uppercut, knocking Jack backwards. Jack quickly reorients himself and looks to the side, spots a street sign, and tears it from the ground. Rick then jumps at Jack, who impales him through the neck with a street sign before grabbing him and throwing him against a wall. Jack laughs as he wipes the blood from his hands, but he's stopped for a second when he sees Rick standing there, pulling the street sign from his throat and his wound healing. Jack then runs at Rick and slashes at him with his chainsaw blade, cutting into his arm. Rick then grabs the chainsaw blade and rips it out of his arm, and then headbutts Jack, who stumbles back. Rick then grabs a sword from the ground nearby and swings at Jack, who blocks with his chainsaw. Jack then grabs Rick's throat and squeezes as he lifts him up and brings him over to a wall of spikes. Jack then slams Rick's body on the wall of spikes over and over again, before throwing him up to the highest spike on the wall. Rick's body stays up there leaking blood onto the ground as Jack lights his cigarette. When Jack turns to leave, Rick jumps down from the wall and lands in front of a building. Rick punches in the window of the building that he stands next to and pulls out a wooden board. Rick rushes at Jack and smacks him across the face of the board and then quickly raises it above his head. But before he can slam it down, Jack gut punches Rick and shoves his chainsaw through his stomach and slashes it to the side, cutting Rick open. Rick falls to the ground as the voice in his head yells at him. "Come on, you pansy-ass bitch! Get up and fight this douchebag!" Rick's body heals as he gets up and grabs Jack by the neck and slams him against a wall and then throws him to the floor. Jack slowly stands back up as Rick tackles him and kicks him against a busted car. Rick then charges at Jack and leaps into the air and gets ready to slam his fist into Jack's skull, but Jack rolls to the side, causing Rick to smash in the car. Jack then picks up some daggers from the ground and shoves them into Rick's back as he lifts him over his head and tears Rick clean in half. Rick's body falls to the ground in two pieces as Jack stomps on his head and throws his body in a dumpster. Jack then takes a drag of his cigarette as Rick busts out of the dumpster covered in spikes. He quickly dashes at Jack, who throws a cigarette at Rick's face and punches him with his metal arm, cracking the mask. Rick yells out in a rage and grabs Jack and rips out his intestines and starts to strangle him with them before his head tears off by... Rick then yells in a rage and grabs Jack, rips out his intestines, wraps around his neck and strangles Jack with them until his body falls over lifeless. Rick then laughs hysterically as he walks away, but quickly notices Jack standing there in the alley. Rick then looks at Jack confused as Jack rushes forward, shoves his chainsaw into Rick's stomach, and then spins it, throwing his body into two spinning wheels, crushing Rick's body into a bloody puddle. The mask falls on the ground as Jack walks over and crushes it under his boot. Alright, I do want to give a huge thanks to Speedy the Assassin for providing me with the Rick Taylor research. Honestly, this episode would have taken so much longer had he not helped me out, so thanks a lot, man. Holy fucking shit, that was brutal as all hell. Well, our winner is Jack Cayman, and honestly, this fight shouldn't be too much of a shock to anyone who paid close attention to the footage and the analysis. Both Jack and Rick were incredibly powerful. Rick could easily rip apart demons and take down huge demons that could tower over buildings. And his durability and strength should scale to each other, as he was able to catch and survive the impact of that huge meteor and survive a meteor to the shoulder. But Jack, on the other hand, could launch a vampire really far with a spanking. He could easily snap someone in half and snap someone's neck 180 degrees. Plus, he can take down and kill large monsters and robots that towered over buildings. Both of them clocked in about building a large building levels of strength and durability. However, I do have to give the edge to Jack Cayman. Now, hear me out. If you pay attention to the footage I'm about to show you here, Rick Taylor struggles to tear apart demons, and even when he does take out these large demons, he still struggles to rip them apart. Now, when you look at Jack's footage that I'll be showing in just a second, he easily can snap someone in half, and when he does these attacks to these huge monsters, he does it much easier than Rick does. So Jack and Rick, at their low ends and even at their high ends, clearly have a small strength gap. So now on to speed. Rick was able to catch that meteor and completely slow it down before it did major damage to him. Not to mention, he's also able to throw knives at 40 miles per hour and blitz several demons. However, this meteor feat seems rather inconsistent, as later he did get hit by several meteors. Jack, on the other hand, can chop bullets in half, dodge tornadoes, and he can outrun a missile for a long distance. He can also dodge lightning attacks before they hit him while he was standing in water. This easily makes Jack massively hypersonic, whereas Rick only has about high hypersonic speeds from catching that meteor. However, he did fail to dodge several other meteors later on, so this is a bit inconsistent. So I have to give a slight speed edge to Jack. Then there were the X factors, being Rick's healing factor and Jack's extra lives. But here's the thing, Jack did kill a vampire who could heal herself, and he's killed several monsters and zombies and even the Grim Reaper before, so Rick isn't anything new to him. Plus, Jack can use pills and onions to heal himself as well, so it's not like anything Rick does will be permanent either. Now, Rick, on the other hand, is going to have to kill Jack 3 times. And saying as though he's already at a stat disadvantage in strength, speed, and durability, this is going to be far harder for him to do than for Jack to overclock Rick's healing factor. Not to mention, Jack can always find more extra lives during the battle, which could make this fight even more of a struggle for Rick to handle. Then there was just the fact that Jack was more inventive with his ways of killing. He'll use anything in the environment he can find and pick up, or even use things they can't pick up to kill you. Honestly, the fight became pretty cut and dry when you looked at these statistical advantages. Looks like this fight was Rick tailored for Jack to splatter Rick's intestines all across this mad world. I'll see my own way out for those puns. I guess I should have chainsaw these jokes being bad, instead of trying to mask the terror that I bring with these punishing end jokes. Yeah, alright, I'm done now. The winner is Jack Cayman. Next time on Combo Breaker. Steven Universe versus Finn the Human. I'm actually super excited to do this match, so I really want to see you guys' predictions in the comments down below, and have an absolutely wonderful day.